Are you looking for new ways to heal yourself? You tired of taking the medication that your doctor's prescribing you that has all these types of side effects that actually make your problem worse? We'll find out more today on the DNaz channel. I'm here to talk to you about natural remedies. That's right, home remedies, things you could do yourself and that are actually much more healthier for you. And I'm going to talk about why. I want to talk about why here because I care about your health. Your health is important. And for too long, we have let these pharmaceutical companies come and you see them putting on commercials every single day. They're trying to get you to go, oh, go to your doctor and ask for this. Go and ask for this. And then there's a million side effects that it's listing, right? We don't want that anymore. We want to be healed, right? And another thing, a lot of these medications, they don't cure the problem, okay? What they do is they kind of neutralize the problem. What they do is they take one symptom and they control that symptom, but the problem stays there. They're not curing anything. They are controlling a symptom, right? We want that symptom to go away. We don't want to be dependent on medication, right? So I'm going to tell you how to make natural remedies for yourselves, right? How to treat your own symptoms, okay? So first, we have why? Why are we using natural remedies? Okay. And the main reason is because there are less side effects and it is much more healthier for you. Okay. This is a reason why you would be using these remedies. Okay. There's different types of remedies that we're going to get into, but all of them mostly have a lesser risk of side effects. Okay. So, what are the types of natural remedies we have? Well, we have therapeutic, right? We have relaxation therapy. We have aromatherapy, okay? You have exercise, you have supplementation, and then what we're going to get into today, you have herbal remedies, okay? So, what to look out for? What are the risks? Well, first of all, if you are already taking medication, number one, I want to say, I am not a doctor and this is not medical advice, okay? So this is just if you want to take this information, what you do with it is on you, okay? But when it comes to herbal remedies, they're mostly safe. You just want to stay away from ages under 2, which is common sense, right? And then if you're over the age of 65, you want to have lower doses, right? But you also want to take things into consideration, like, are you already on medication? Okay. What do you have allergies to? You know, you have to do your own research when it comes to this stuff, right? We can give you some suggestions about what herbs are better, what foods are better for you, because your diet is very important. But you have to know what you're allergic to, what medications you're already on. For example, if you're taking blood thinners, you don't want to go ahead and make a herbal tea that is also going to thin your blood, right? You want to be sure, or something that's going to mess with your blood pressure, you want to be sure that you are diagnosing yourself correctly. Because when it comes to using herbal medication, you are diagnosing yourself, okay? Now, what is the dosing like? The dosing, mainly when it comes to herbs, is 1 to 2 teaspoons of herbs, right, per cup of water. Okay, now you're going to be using boiled water, right? And this is mainly to use a tea, right? And you're going to take it 1 to 3 times a day, whether it's the tea, your tinctures, whatever it be, right? Now, when you're using herbs, how do you know that the herbs you're using are still good? Well, if you dried herbs, let's say your herbs have a smell. To know if your dried herbs are still fresh, you want it to still have that smell. Okay, if you open the jar or whatever you store it in, right? You still want it to have that smell so you know that it's fresh. So what types of examples are we talking about? What herbs or what foods are we talking about and what can they cure? So let me just give you 3 examples really quick, right? If you have cholesterol issues, garlic is very good at controlling that, okay? If you have upset stomach, you can use peppermint or you can use fennel, and make teas, or just consume it. Just consume it. This is going to regulate your upset stomach, okay? Digestion, right? There's also many herbs that help with laxatives, okay? Now, let's say a mental problem. You have other types of issues, right? Not just, physical issues. Let's say you have depression, right? St. John's wort is a known herb to be very good for healing depression. Okay, so what are the types of remedies that we have? What are we working with? We are working with tinctures, okay, which is alcohol based. We're working with oils, which is like extra virgin olive oils, and you're infusing it, infused oils, okay? You are working with salves. Salves are like a rub on, okay? Like a lotion or a rub on, okay? Now you're going to use that mainly with beeswax, okay? So like, like your lip balm or something safe, right? And beeswax is safe, and you're combining that with your oil, okay? Then you have your teas. Your teas are another kind. This is what I would say is the easiest way to do a remedy and the main one people use. But some herbs are very bitter and don't taste good. So you don't want to make it a tea necessarily because it's horrible to drink. But there is a rule when it comes to the herbal world: bitter is better. That's right. So we might not like the bitter, but overall bitter usually is better for you. And then we have poultices. A poultice is a mashup of herbs, and you're applying it to the area. Okay? So, how are we making these things? Well, number one, we're going to start with teas. Okay? How do you make a tea? You're going to take 1 to 2 teaspoons of your dried herb or fresh herb, and you're going to measure that with 1 cup of water. So, for every cup of water, 1 to 2 teaspoons of herb. That is a low dose. That is what you should start with. You should always start with a low dose and then work your way up, okay? So you're going to boil that cup of water. You're going to add your herbs, and you're going to let it steep. Now, steeping means you boil it and then you turn it off, okay? You let the herbs steep in there for about 10 to 20 minutes, okay? Then you're going to strain out your herbs, and voila, you can consume it, okay? That is your teas, right? Now, how to make tinctures. Okay, well, your tinctures, you're going to take your herbs or your foods, right? Whether it be garlic, or you're going to take your herb, like your St. John's wort, right? You're going to put it in grain alcohol, usually over 80%, okay? And you want to cover it. So no matter how much you have, tinctures are different when you're working with tinctures, okay? Because you can't really tell your dosing. So it's whatever herbs you have, you're going to take that, you're going to cover it, just cover it with your grain alcohol, okay? Then you're going to let it sit in a cool, dark place and let that sit for about 2 to 4 weeks, okay? I'm going to say mainly probably to 4 weeks, okay? Then you're going to strain it and put it in a nice jar. Now, you ever seen tinctures, the droppers? They come in that dark jar. That's so the light don't affect it, okay? It's good to store it in those jars with the droppers, okay? Now you have your oils. So how are you making your oils? This I do all the time, okay? It's one of my favorite. I make oils for my face. I use sunflower, okay? I infuse oil with sunflower, okay? And that helps your face, like, clearing up your pores, everything. Like you have acne, all these things. It's good for you, right? So how are you making your oils? You are going to heat your oil on simmer. You're going to put it on simmer, okay? And you are going to add your herbs to that. Now, you're going to let it simmer for about 30 minutes, okay? Then you're going to put it into jars with your herb. You're not going to strain it yet. You're going to, after you let it simmer for 30 minutes, you're going to put it into your jars, and you're going to seal it tightly, okay? Now, what I've learned is that you want to put it probably by a window in sunlight, but not if you live in a hot area. You don't want it to be hot. You just want the sunlight to kind of extract it out of it. If you don't have that, that's okay. You already simmered it. Simmering it is doing the job of the sun. If you do not have a way to simmer it, you can also leave it in a windowsill and let it just cook in there and infuse like that. Again, this takes a couple weeks, probably around 4 to 6 weeks, right? So you simmer it, you're gonna put the oil and contents, your herbs in the jar, let it sit for a couple weeks, okay? Then you're going to want to shake it every day. Shake it every day. And after a couple of weeks, you're going to strain it, and put it into a clean jar. And then you have your infused oil. You can rub it on your skin, right? Or you could do what comes next, how to make salves, right? Like I said, your salves are like your lotions or, like your lip balm. So think of that. So think about making something for your face. Like I use sunflower, infusing that making that into a salve. You're going to do that with beeswax. You could buy fresh beeswax, buy organic, fresh beeswax, right, from somewhere, maybe a bee farmer, right? And then you're going to take it. You're going to heat up your oil, okay? You're just going to heat it up, not to a boil. You don't want to boil oil, okay? That'll kill it. You just want to heat it up a little bit. You're going to add your beeswax until it is, dissolved in there, till it is all melted in there, okay? Then you are going to want to pour it into little jars or containers, whatever you use, right? Silicone is good. You get little silicone containers, right? So now, after it's all melted in there, you pour it into the silicone containers, right? And you seal it. You want them sealed tightly, let it cool. This will cool into like a little salve, right? Think of a lip balm, right? Like a salve that you could put on the infected area, okay? Now, the last one is a poultice, all right? A poultice, right? This is when you're going to get something like this, pestle and mortar. You're going to put your herbs right in here. You're going to mash them up, grind them up really good, right? I like to put a little bit of oil in there because it helps get everything out, right? You're going to mash that up. Let's say you have a cut, right? Let's say you have, you're using, I think pine resin is good, right? But let's say, you're using an herb that you're putting over a cut, or let's say you're putting it on your face. Let's say you're taking that sunflower. You can use the leaves in a sunflower. You can use the whole part of a sunflower. Leaves are good. Roots are always good. So you're going to pour a little tiny bit of oil, get a bunch of your leaves, your flowers, right? Your flower petals. You're going to mash them all up. Then you can apply it to the area, let it sit there, right? That is going to make your poultice, right? So these are how you do your natural remedies, okay? These are the methods of doing them. Now, in this episode, I'm not really going over what recipes to use, but I'm just showing you how to use them and get you started into learning about using natural remedies because it's very important, okay? I want you to learn how to heal yourself. I want us all to have better medicine, better ways to heal ourselves, not spending an arm and a leg at the pharmacy, not taking drugs that have horrible side effects. No, look up what herbs are good. Look up what natural ways you can heal yourself. Again, I mentioned aromatherapy before. You can use incenses, relaxation, sleep methods, right? This can calm your stress, your anxiety. There are so many different natural ways. And do not forget exercise and hydration, okay? Because your water intake is very important and your exercise is very important. I like to tell people, even if you don't exercise and you don't have it really in you to start going to the gym or something, just wake up in the morning and stretch. You have no clue what that will do for you, okay? So come back to the DNaz channel. If you haven't, like and subscribe. If you've been here before, I love you for coming back. You've been watching the DNaz channel, and we'll see you next time.